Domain Expansion, the Conqueror's Haki of Jujutsu Kaisen. The strongest of the strong usually have this ability. Gojo, Sukuna, Jogo, Mahito, and even Megumi. If you have a domain expansion, you're pretty much a first grade sorcerer or a special grade curse. Yuji is my favorite character in JJK, and my man does not have a domain expansion or even a curse technique. Bro is facing off against Sukuna right now with just straight hands. Or at least, that's what we think. People have to remember that there is a 20-day time skip from when Gojo was released and when he fought Sukuna. Yuji was shown to be an insane learner, and even Chozo, a special grade, said Yuji had become a monster in only one night of Shibuya. So I think Yuji might just pop up with a curse technique and maybe even a domain expansion. So first, we need to discuss what a domain expansion really is to see what his domain will be. Domain expansions are, and I quote, the most supreme technique of any Jujutsu user. It is achieved by expanding one's innate domain with cursed energy while using a barrier to construct it inside a separate space. The caster then imbues their cursed energy within the barrier to complete the domain expansion, allowing them to deploy their ability all throughout the domain. You usually use a hand sign or a signal to expand your domain. In dummy terms, a domain expansion is your understanding of your curse technique completely, and even understanding your domain as a whole to expand it. People cannot have two domains, as domains come from the soul, and your soul only has one curse technique. That's why Kenjaku does not have multiple techniques and domain expansions, because he only has his original gravity technique and Geto's curse manipulation, which does not have a domain expansion, as it's not needed due to the curses already having some. We all know that domain expansions have a sure hit effect when it's fully complete. Now, I just said the user has to have a deep understanding of his curse technique, but Yuji doesn't even have a curse technique, let alone fucking understand it. So all of this is just speculation, but anyone with a brain cell should know that by now. So if Yuji trained under Yuta, Hikari, Chozo, and even Gojo, 3/4 of them have a domain expansion, and all 4 of them have trained their techniques to the max. I think Yuji could learn a curse technique in a couple days, but what would the technique be? Soul punching. You guys are probably thinking, what the fuck is a soul punching? Well, let me explain this a little more. The parallels between Mahito and Yuji are there especially in Shibuya. And Mahito's technique is soul manipulation, and pretty much kills anyone, but with Yuji's, he wants to save people's lives, but he is also just a hand-to-hand martial artist. I think instead of controlling shapes of people like Mahito with the soul, Yuji will be able to attack them directly, just like Nobara's technique, since Nobara has been nowhere to be found since her death. Now with Mahito, he has to touch the person to get their soul, but with Nobara, all she needs is a piece of them. The more pieces, the better. But I think in Yuji's case, every punch he does not only have to take physical damage, but soul and cursed energy too. I also think that Yuji can heal the more damage he does, because we see Yuji still fighting with lethal injuries, while other people take less damage and are almost dead. Yuji has always been shown to heal quickly due to his genetics as being a cursed womb, but it would make a lot more sense that he could steal others' cursed energy while hitting them. It would also make a lot of sense that he could punch someone far away, just like Sukuna's technique, because some of Sukuna's techniques are actually carved inside Yuji's soul. So I know that sounds far-fetched, but I mean, I came up with this in just an hour, so let's just move on to his domain expansion. And I've actually thought of his domain for weeks now. People have this belief that he will have some sort of boxing ring, or even a shrine, just like Sukuna due to him inheriting some of Sukuna's soul. It could go either way, and both of these are great, but for comedy's sake, I'll be done with the boxing ring, because it's way too cool. Now, the name of this domain expansion will be Benevolent Ring. So this domain will obviously spawn a boxing ring. And if we're taking the route of him learning from Yuta, Hikari, and Gojo, then I think it would be best that he went the Hikari and Mahito route. Now, I mentioned Mahito again, because you guys know Mahito's domain expansion really is just a whole bunch of hands. So I think Yuji's will just be a whole bunch of fists, and the opponent will just keep on getting pummeled by Yuji's fists. I mean, imagine getting hit by 100 divergent fists. It will be insane. And I mean, it would be similar to Sukuna's domain, because he can hit from far away. I also mentioned Hikari, because his domain is very strange. I won't go in depth, but basically, he always hits jackpot, and it's these buffs, like strength and mainly immortality. So I think it will be a similar effect with Yuji's boxing rounds. Yuji will obviously have an advantage with his sure hit effect, so I think every round he wins, he will get a cursed energy buff. Or maybe he might be healed just like Hikari. And I also think this will be perfect with Hidorama's curse technique of removing cursed energy. So just imagine that. Yuji pummeling a basic Sukuna. But anyways, let me know if my domain theory is a good one, and maybe correct or even hate on me. And give me some of your theories down below. Please like, subscribe, and peace.